I hope that the reason nobody is speaking is out of fear and not out of sympathy to the radicals. Christians are leaving the Middle East in large numbers, reminding us when close to 1 million Jews were expelled by force from Arab countries. My mother, in the late 50s, attended many government-run auctions in the homes of the Jews who were expelled from Egypt. Their businesses were taken, and my mother used to come with a vase or a piece of furniture saying, I got this great deal from the homes of the Jews who were expelled from Egypt. No synagogues anymore accepted in Muslim countries. And now, churches are disappearing. They are being burned. Nuns are being stabbed in Alexandria, and the world is not speaking. Israel allows mosques in it. I visited Jerusalem twice and woke up in the middle of the night in Jerusalem with a call for prayer by a mosque in Jerusalem. Muslim countries allow Jews to wake them. Will ever I see the day when Muslim countries will wake up because Jews are praying? Will this ever happen? From synagogues. Will I ever see synagogues back in the Middle East? But Arabs called Israel the apartheid state. Who is the apartheid state, ladies and gentlemen? Ladies and gentlemen, terrorists are not freedom fighters, but Western media are trying to give them nice names. Freedom fighters, bombers, or dissidents, or something. They are not the underdogs. They treat them like they are victims. Terrorists are not the underdogs. They are brainwashed killers and murderers who are the hidden hands of tyrannical regimes who want to turn back the clock and keep Muslim women in bondage and Muslim men tortured and children killed, controlling not only their behavior but also their minds. The true victims of terror, the true freedom fighters, ladies and gentlemen, are the Iraqi voters who went out and voted despite of the threat to be killed. The freedom fighters are the Arab reformists and the Arab journalists who are in jail, in Arab jails right now as we speak. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, the true freedom fighters are the people of Israel. Those people who lived for 58 years under the threat of terror and war and boycott. They are the freedom fighters who are still riding buses and maintaining a democracy in the midst of tyranny. There is nothing honorable in terrorism. It's not just hurting non-Muslims. It's also destroying my people, destroying the good Muslim people. It's destroying the moral fabric and goodness in Arab culture. We must never, ever allow fanatic extremists to use and abuse us simply because they're fellow Arabs or fellow Muslims. We are fed up with hatred, anger, and envy. We've had it with the self-anointed ayatollahs, mullahs, and sheikhs who are condemning the Middle East, my beloved Middle East, to a permanent state of war, the way the Jews have been treated in the Middle East. It's tragic and a disgrace. No one should be called an infidel, and no people should be called enemies of God and apes and pigs. That is an embarrassment to any civilized and decent Muslim. We need to promote not the killing of infidels, but we need to promote the rights of Muslim women and honor killing of girls. cruel and unusual punishments such as amputation, lashing of limbs, female genital mutilation, and polygamy, and its devastating effects on family relations and women relations in the Middle East. And we must be outraged over the fatwas of death of Arab reformers. It has to be in the headlines of Western media. We must see it. Oh, did our Muslim religious leaders fail us in the Middle East? Instead of being a source of comfort to us, a source of wisdom, they have become a source of hatred, rage, and subversion. We must demand better from our religious leaders who have taught us cursing, ladies and gentlemen, from the pulpits of mosques. They controlled us by fear and intimidation and made all of us feel that hatred, violence, terrorism as normal. I used to feel all of this as normal. When I was living it was justifiable. But now I know that I didn't live in a normal society. I live in a society controlled by fear. There is nothing holy in spreading rage, anger, and incitement from houses of worship. We must end the Dark Age mentality and join the 21st century. Enough is enough. Islam is not just a religion. There are very few differences, ladies and gentlemen, between all radicals, whether they are secular Muslims, practicing Muslims, or non-practicing Muslims. They all believe in political Islam. They are all dreams of an Islamic caliphate, a totalitarian political system, a lifestyle imposed on us by force. One nation, one party, one constitution, which is the Quran, and one law, Islamic Sharia law. In such a system, basic religious values is political Islam, where the concept of jihad is the centerpiece of the religion. And that jihad principle facilitates Arab imperialism, where humanitarianism and the Ten Commandments are neglected, replaced by one goal, which is conquering the world by the sword. This law becomes the ideal and the central point of Islamic teaching. We stop feeling anything about being a good person as a basic humanitarian to all of humanity. We only hear prayers for Muslims and cursing of non-Muslims. I want to be in a house of God that prays for all of humanity. My religion doesn't teach that. The one thing that every American and every Westerner must understand is that there's nothing the West has done or not done that causes jihad and terrorism. It's not your fault. It is simply our mere existence as a free democracy that gives religious and political freedom to all citizens, regardless of race, sex, and national origin. I was told once by a Muslim man, if you were not in the West, people like you should be killed. Muslim clerics are also a threat. They are not Muslim clerics are not just a threat to Western society. They are a threat to Arab governments. And no Arab government is Muslim enough for them. Not even Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, you think it's radical Muslim? No, it's not Muslim enough for them. Arab governments are all struggling to stay in power, always under the threat of a coup d'etat. Most Arab leaders came either as a result of a coup d'etat or after a coup d'etat. Or they are winning a coup d'etat. And that is the dynamic of Arab politics. In this dynamic, only tyrannical governments